Good afternoon, race fans. Welcome here to Dover for tonight's Dover 125, brought to you by Rebilas Photography. My name is Robert Hill Jr. Joining me, as always, is Chris Wright. And joining us tonight as well is Josh Adams. Chris, Josh, how you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Excited to have Josh. I think this is the first time you've been with us, Josh, during a race, right?
This series, I think this season, yeah. I just figured I'd, take the night off racing. I've been back doing a couple of races, but figured I'd try and get back into the swing of things and just hang out with you guys for a little bit.
Well, we're definitely glad to have you as we take a look at the format tonight. 125 laps, no stages. There will be a halfway point at lap 63, and we have 5 sets of tires, so 1 on the car and 4 in the pits. And taking a look at the starting grid tonight, Trey Eidson on the pole alongside Tate Lytle, David Tooker, Braxton DeWeese make up row number 2, Tyler Foti, Matthew Weeks row 3. Foti is locked in to the next round. Chad Frankenfield, Ethan Stanley row number 4 with Giverson Hogan and Jay Connor rounding out the top 10 as we let the rest of the field scroll on by. Some drivers deeper in the field, including Johnny Thomas, starting 21st tonight. He is the deepest of our playoff runners, guys. Lights are off on the pace car, so we're going to go green this time. Who's your picks to win here tonight? We'll start with Josh.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with I'm gonna make it easy. I'm gonna go with the pole sitter, Trey Eidson.
Definitely a solid pick.
Yeah, stepping out on a limb there. And Tate Lytle did not grid up. I believe he said he was not going to be racing, not going to be here for the whole event. So I am going to. I think I got to go out there, and I'm gonna pick Tyler Foti. He looked really fast in practice. I know he qualified back there in 5th, so we'll see what happens. Pace car is off here.
I'm going to go with, let's go with Chad Frankenfield tonight as we're getting set to go green. Green flag is out and we're underway.
Good start for the bottom. Trey's going to get clear down into 1 over Braxton DeWeese.
DeWeese up on the high side as we see these drivers swinging out on exit, getting relatively close to that outside wall. Just of note, we discussed it before the race here tonight, as Casey Hatch had a bit of an issue there on the initial start. He actually got a meatball flag, guys. Oh! Casey Hatch just absolutely nailed the barrels at the end of pit road.
Got our Kyle Larson impersonator already?
Looks like he lost it off of turn number 2 on lap number 1, hit the inside wall, and then as he was coming around a pit, ended up nailing the tire barrier.
I don't think he lost
the barrels.
Something happened there.
That was a very interesting issue there for Casey Hatch. I don't think he would describe it as interesting, but for him, he's done. Out of the race, now, Casey Hatch.
Last night in the truck race, he had a screen problem, and he had to go down on the apron.
I bet you that's what happened again.
Yeah, that's halfway down the backstretch, and he just went left. Like, it just drifted left and hit the wall, so... Yeah, I don't think he lost. I think something happened there with the screen.
Yeah, that's a good call there, Chris. Last night, numerous times, actually, we saw Casey Hatch having issues with his screens going black on him, so lost all visuals of the racetrack probably 3-4 times throughout the event, and that's definitely not something you want to happen, and most definitely not at Talladega.
Yeah, and that's a problem you don't want to keep having. He's been lucky every time he's been on the inside and able to go left. You do that, we saw 3 wide, 8 rows deep. You do that in the middle lane, you're probably causing a wreck. You do it on the top here on the first lap, you're probably causing a wreck.
Speaking of 3 wide, Chad Frankenfield currently running in that 5th spot, all over the rear end of Tyler Foti, who's all over Braxton DeWeese. So we may have a 3 wide battle here for 3rd momentarily, as none of these drivers really have too much patience.
Yeah, and Foti's already locked in, too.
And it didn't take very long for us to get single filed out. I think that's about what we're going to see tonight. And Grace, I know you did the truck race here a handful of weeks ago, and it kind of looked like this. How hard is it for these guys at this point to pass each other?
Well, I mean, I can't really compare the trucks to this. The truck you're around here carrying a lot of throttle, so tire fall off was big, but in the truck you're not passing because everybody's carrying so much throttle that there really isn't anywhere to pass for 20 laps. Out here, as you know, you've made a lot of laps in the Xfinity car around here. a lot of these guys are trying to save their tires, trying not to hurt their right front tire. As you see Chad going for Foti
Chad
here.
and Foti side by side. Frankenfield on the inside. Foti on the high side. Foti nearly hits the wall on exit. You're going to see that a lot tonight as well, the push off the corners.
And you see Foti let him go. So right now that tells me Foti's not trying to work his right front tire. Chad's a guy that we typically see run the tires off the car. So I think Chad's driving pretty hard right now.
Well,
Foti's taking it pretty easy.
A big thing that Josh mentioned before the race off of the air was that these races typically will either go very green, where we only have maybe 2 cautions. Otherwise, we have a caution fest. So you have to prepare for this race to go long. You have to save your tires. You have to prepare for the absolute longest of runs. Otherwise, you're going to count yourself out very, very early.
Yeah, and I think it's just something that seems to happen at Dover quite often. We get spread out and guys just run kind of how we see it, and you have just that random instance every once in a while where somebody loses it off of a corner or something, but it looks like I don't want to jinx anything, but it looks like we're in for some clean and green right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are only 11 laps in, but I do want to highlight a couple of our biggest movers thus far. Gavin Higgins up 6 spots from the start. Started 25th, currently running in 19th. As Chad Frankenfield just got by Braxton DeWeese for 3rd. And Jaden Racimus up 5 spots already. Started 29th, currently scored in 24th. So good early runs from those 2 drivers.
Yeah, I think we saw another instance where Braxton just let Chad go. He knew that Chad's kind of running real offensive right now, and he didn't really want to do it.
Yeah, you're going to get a lot of that out of these drivers. All of them very hungry out here looking for wins. Like Chris mentioned, Foti is locked into the next round of the playoffs. And actually, while we do have a bit of a run here, let's take a look at those points thus far. Tyler Foti currently locked into the next round. Ethan Stanley currently in by 15 points. Trey Eidson in by 13. Justin Fuller also in by 13, but not here. So Fuller probably going to knock himself out of the playoffs with that. Chad Frankenfield in by 8. Scott Crump in by 5. 2 points in for Hogan and 1 point in for Raleigh. And then the last playoff spot currently for the next round, which is the round of 9, is held by Ethan Burrell, who's in a tie with Braxton DeWeese. 2 points back is Matthew Weeks, 17 back for Jay Connor, 19 for Johnny Thomas, and 37 for Leighton Norgard.
And with one of our playoff guys, well, one of our guys above the cut line not being in, that's going to move the whole cut line. That's going to bring everybody closer.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I feel like there's only one guy who feels like he has to win right now. I think everybody else still has an opportunity to point their way in.
Yeah, Leighton Norgard is that driver that likely does have to win if he wants a chance to advance. Tonight at Dover, currently running 13th. You never know what can happen. He could work his way up there. I've seen him run strong here before. But next week, we go to Talladega to finish off this round. Anybody can win there.
Yeah, and I think we might have somebody coming in off the bench, too, next week.
Yeah, I was about to say I'll be behind the wheel in that one.
Josh Adams, very, very solid plate racer, so that should be interesting to watch. Looking through the field here, Gerald Campbell currently holding off Jesse Racimus. Racimus is taking looks to the high side and the low side, trying to find a way by. That's the battle for 16th. They're currently chasing down Seth Rawls, who finds himself rounding out the top 15. Just ahead of him, John Cutlip and Ethan Stanley. 2 drivers I thought would be further up in the field thus far, but Ethan Stanley down 5 positions already.
And I'm going to tell you this. Chad went pretty hard there, and he got a little bit close to Tooker, and now he's backing up, and I think that he's about to get swallowed back up by these boys that he passed 10, 15 laps ago.
See back there, Scott's working over Jay Kaner right now. It's about the only near side-by-side battle on the track.
Yeah, Jay worked his way all the way up to the outside while Scott Crump on his inside. They're side-by-side in turn number 3. Crump currently has a bit of an advantage. Seth Rawls and Gerald Campbell just got together a little bit there. Seth Rawls now falling back into the clutches of Joe Francis as Tyler Foti gets by Braxton Deweese. Deweese now closing the gap back up, taking a look to the inside, not able to get there, but he has two very quick cars behind him in Matthew Weeks and Garrison Hogan.
And you talked about Ethan Stanley falling back. Look, I'm going to go ahead and say, I'm going to be honest here, and he might not like it if he watches this broadcast later, but Ethan Stanley has lost a little bit of something on the ovals that he used to have. I feel like right now you see him on a lot of these ovals, he struggles and backs up, especially on the long runs. He's still really good at the road courses, so I think he had a lot on Mid-Ohio last week. We all saw what went down at Mid-Ohio between him and Tooker.
What? Something went down?
And so I think he had all his eggs in that basket, and this is kind of what we've seen out of Ethan Stanley of late here at these ovals. He is a guy that struggles, especially on the long run in these ovals.
Yeah, and Chris, you filled me in a little bit on some of that drama from last week. I was kind of hoping the 92 and 19 to be a little bit closer together right now.
Foti and Frankenfield side by side for third, getting very tight off of turn number 4. Frankenfield up top, Foti down on his inside.
Do you remember when Chad was going by these boys, they let him go?
Well, they're coming back.
And
Because Braxton's on his inside now. He's pinching them hard.
But this is what we talked about. Chad just struggles on these long runs.
Nearly contact there between Deweese and Frankenfield. If Weeks closes the door here, which he's not going to, as Frankenfield's going to dive down.
But they're going to get a big run on him.
He might have he was about to get freight trained.
Here it is. He's already. Look at Weeks.
Weeks is all over Chad's rear end here. We're going to jump up to the chopper cam. Once again, flown by Dave Huckleberry. It's his side job.
See right there? Look how much that 15's up off the bottom coming out of 4. He's already super tight, and that's part of the reason we don't have a lot of cautions here.
The one thing you can see too, Chris,
super tight.
That's absolutely it. The setup's not overly loose. Plus, the one thing you can see is Chad's more driving with his mirror right now, focusing on the 11 machine behind him and trying to block off his run, rather than trying to find a way to creep back forward.
Yeah, and I think one thing I could tell you for sure is Matthew Weeks, he's going to be very patient getting around that 15, but if it takes him too long, he's probably going to fume inside that race car. He might already be.
That patience is going to go away. That's for sure, especially with Weeks and Frankenfield. Everyone has beef with Frankenfield from time to time.
But, I'm watching here. Weeks looks like he's up off the bottom a little bit out of the corners, too, so he might be a little bit. Oh, Chad went down there and hit the apron.
Slid up.
He just got his lefts on the apron there. Weeks is there. Is Chad going to try to shut this door?
I think if he shuts the door, Weeks is going to kick it right back open.
Yeah, see, I think Weeks is struggling too here.
Hogan's
Weeks in the wall.
As well.
Weeks just got a piece of the wall. Yeah, I think Matthews kind of used up his tires a little bit too.
We are 30 laps into this one already, so almost a quarter of the way done.
I think Matthews' teammates right behind him are saying, hey, let's make this happen or move out of our way and let us make it happen.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Just behind Matthew Weeks is Garrison Hogan and Ethan Burrell, as well as Scott Crump, Kean Raleigh. So,
Weeks goes down there and gets sideways on the brakes and hits the apron.
This battle for 5th is a good one here, but I think Hogan's running out of patience a little bit here as well.
Well, watch him off of 4. Hogan's able to stay right on that bottom on the exit of 4, and both of these cars are up off of it.
Yeah, definitely a big difference in how they're able to run this, but let's take a look through the field, see if we have any more big battles out there. This is the closest, aside from Seth Rawls getting by Ethan Stanley. Stanley now down 11 spots from the start of this race. Now finds himself just hanging on to the top 20. So that's a huge drop.
Josh, what's the rule when you've got a line of cars behind you and that gap in front of you is getting bigger? You see, we're up to 5 cars lined up behind Chad now.
I think somebody's got to move him. I think they probably all know they're faster.
Yeah, there's going to be some aggression that's going to come into play here over the next couple of... As Gerald Campbell just queued up and said that there was a train forming behind Chad, so...
You think Gerald's listening in?
Hi, Gerald. Gerald's definitely tuned in. We talked about it last night.
Yeah, so he may be. The rule that I told Chris was that you got to move him, and Gerald just said give him a bump, move him.
Oh, here goes Garrison. He's not going to be behind Matthew anymore. He said, I've got to go and try to make this pass, but Matthew's not really giving it to him.
Yeah, I kind of expected him to roll over for him, but I think Matthew knows that if he just rolls over, he's losing 4 more spots.
And
Here goes Ethan.
he's about to get freight trained here. Weeks moves to the high side. Ooh, that was really close with Ethan Burrell. Burrell's going to get a bit of a tap going into the corner from Scott Crump. Oh, Crump and Raleigh nearly get together.
It's a difficult situation there for Matthew. You let a corporate teammate in Garrison go, and then you've got your teammate on you.
Crump!
Oh! What a save by Crump's going to be
Wow.
upset with.
See, the bleeding kind of stopped for Matthew Weeks there.
Yeah. But Crump's probably not going to like that.
Let's take a look at that one here on the Rebilas photography replay machine. Sounds like we got a circus going on. Kean Raleigh goes to the outside of Scott Crump. Crump looks to the inside of Weeks, not able to do it. That's on the 90. I mean, it's not a tally or anything like that, but the
Well, I
90 kind of
think
put his
what-
nose in there. And
What happened there was Matthew was trying to get down and stop the bleeding, and he had a run off of 4, and he checked up not to drive back under Ethan, and when he did,
yeah, the
Scott-
domino
Scott
effect
didn't
comes
know.
into play. Looking here, though, Garrison Hogan has caught and is all over Chad Frankenfield. He nearly inserted himself into the rear end of the Frankenfield machine. Oh,
Oh,
nearly
wow.
contact.
really
He almost,
leaning up the track on him there.
They almost made big contact there in the middle of the corner. So we
Yeah,
jump
it'll
up
be
to the
interesting
drone.
see. Once Garrison does complete this pass, it might take him 10 more laps, but we'll see how much tire he has left sitting back behind those boys.
Yeah, definitely going to be
Oh,
tight
Garrison,
here.
a little bit loose off of 2.
It's like, oh, contact again.
I think that was Garrison saying, you've held us up, and now I got underneath you, and I'm almost clear. I'm taking it. I think that's what
Garrison
happened
just
there.
queued up and apologized, saying that he hit the apron to Chad. Now Chad under pressure from Ethan Burrell, Kean Raleigh, and once again Matthew Weeks in that group as well. See Harrison Talon falling back towards the rear, just got passed by Dave Carpenter. Carpenter now 23rd, Goodman in 25th, with Talon
We see-
24th.
We see Tyler Foti just took over the second spot from David Tooker.
Yeah, Foti able to work his way up, approaching 1/3 of the way through this event. Coming up to lap 40
Oh,
already.
here we go. Ethan Burrell's going to lose a spot.
Burrell moves up. Raleigh gets to his inside. Going to be tight side by side off of turn number 4.
Seems like whoever gets behind Chad, if they decide that they don't want to try to be aggressive making that pass, they're giving that spot up.
Keane will be aggressive. Let me tell you that. Former teammate of mine in Kean Raleigh. He's not afraid to use the bumper. Weeks took a peek
Well,
to the inside
we have
of Burrell.
Crump closing back up here, and we'll see what he thinks. If he thinks
on
Matthew
board
did something
with,
of weakness.
Let's ride on board with Kean Raleigh as he approaches the 15 machine of Frankenfield. I want to see if he used the bumper.
As you can see, Chad just struggles everywhere. He's struggling up off the corner, struggling through the middle of the corner.
One thing that's really standing out to me riding on board with Kean is the... Oh, Frankenfield gets a little bit slideways right there. The bumps on this racetrack, absolutely incredible. As Kean closes in on
Look
the
at
back
this
of
big
the
diamond.
15.
Watch this run down the backstretch with what he just did there.
Raleigh gets to the inside of Frankenfield.
And they got a couple of lap cars out in front of him now, too.
That is...
You might want to take a look at Crump and Weeks here. I think Crump is feeling like Matthew did something wrong there earlier. 3 wide with the lap car.
I only got so many buttons here, Chris.
There's a lot going on right
From
now. in
all
this
over
little
the
group.
back of Matthew Weeks here.
I got some more
Kean.
contact.
Yeah, Kian made contact there with Chad.
Oh, Jaden Racimus in the wall. John Cutlip has to dive inside to avoid him. Crump taking a look to the inside of Weeks. Not able to get there. Kian back. Probably going to make contact again with Chad. Gets to the end. Oh, that
I'm
was
gonna tell you
close.
now, if Chad gets wrecked, it's gonna, he's gonna be.
Okay.
Oh, Weeks, and we got a lot going on. Crump just gave the bumper to Weeks here.
And you know Weeks isn't going to like that. Oh, Kian sliding up.
I think if I'm Kian, I'm just gonna drive down into 3 and use what racetrack I need. Oh,
Kian
Chad
clears him.
there.
Let's jump back to Matthew Weeks and Scott Crump. Crump trying to close that gap. I don't think he's going to get back there.
Yeah, I don't know what you guys see, but that actually did a little bit of damage to the left rear of the 11 car.
Let's take a look at the
I
left
do see
rear.
a little bit of a bump there.
Oh, that's a terrible camera angle.
I think there's gonna be more damage done to that 11 car.
Oh, here comes Crump again, so possibly. We're right on the gearbox cam of Matthew Weeks. Taking a look back at Scott Crump. Oh, there's no
Big
more
run off of
gearbox
4 for
cam.
Crump.
He's right there. Oh, Weeks
Weeks
throws
with
a
the block.
This is. Oh, he's gonna hit him.
Yeah,
we
probably
got
not a
it
good
coming
decision
back.
to block.
This isn't gonna end well, guys.
Well, they've got a buffer between them now, so Matthew's not going to do anything stupid with his teammate out there.
No, Cutlip's gonna slide on by. Weeks at least. Oh!
Oh, and we're wrecking on the front stretch.
Wow.
Well, Matthew didn't have to do it. His teammate did it for him.
Well, that's actually on the 90, I think, because the 90 came up for what I saw. But let's take a look again at the replay.
Yeah, he just came up there like Jonathan wasn't there.
Yeah, he definitely did. I'd say one thing, maybe in Scott's defense, though, you don't really expect somebody to have their fender in there trying to pass you that late on corner exit, but it's still on the 90. You know, he has
Well,
no cars out there.
Yeah, and what I would say about that is it wasn't like Cutlip got to his outside going into 3, so he had the whole corner to know Cutlip was out there.
Yeah, I think there was a short time where he got clear right towards the exit, and then Cutlip got back. His spotter probably told him he was clear for a second, and he just tried to take it back.
And Scott does not like the call, but I mean, I don't know what he wanted Cutlip to do. Cutlip ended up hitting the wall, so I think Crump was frustrated with the 11, and I just kind of was driving mad right there, is what Scott was doing. I think Scott was pretty fast. He maybe just should have shown a little bit more patience.
Yeah, Scott was rolling really good. He was running that high entry run to the bottom, like I was kind of watching the 77 running really good lap time with it, but it doesn't help when you ruin your race.
And I went back. I have found what happened to Ethan Stanley. Something happened to Ethan Stanley on, it would appear, lap 23. He was already struggling and backing up, and he got up there and hit the wall out of 4 pretty hard and got hit by the 70. He's lost his whole back bumper.
Well, we are 50 laps in, 75 to go. We're going to step away for a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll take you through the middle portions of the Dover 125 on the Elite Racing Network. Don't go anywhere.
isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Dover. A lot of interesting things going on in the race right now. Ethan Stanley, we talked about before we went to commercial that he got a bunch of damage, stayed out to lead a lap, trying to get something out of the night. He's pitted on the second time here. He's going to try to fix his damage. We'll see if, I guess here in about 70 laps, 75 laps, we get to the end of this thing, what he's able to salvage. Scott Crump's going to be able to keep racing. He's going to stay in the field. Not a whole lot of damage to the Crump machine. We'll see what he can salvage. Race leader right now is still Trey Eitzen with Tyler Foti. Tooker, Braxton Deweese, and Kean, top 5. Trey's picked the bottom here. Going to come to the restart zone. We'll see when he leaves. Green is out. Big jump there for the inside lane. He's going to clear Tyler Foti by at least a car length. Looks like Tooker might have just lifted a little bit right there. I saw Flame shoot out the tailpipe like he was letting Foti get in line. A little co-opetition. Everybody says Lake Norman and Pro Edge don't work together, but you could have fooled me by that restart, Josh. What do
Braxton
you
DeWeese just nailed the wall, by the way.
Yeah, probably so. It did look like he wasn't super aggressive on that. But now that we're back, I wish our viewers were privileged to the game chat. It got pretty interesting.
Oh, it was great talking here. It was awesome.
I think if Chad opened up the game chat to our viewers, we'd probably get some more people.
Hey, we always could do like a radioactive. Get some radioactive stuff going on. Be great content.
Yeah, that's why I like Chris Walker's back in. Oh, Chad just sent it 3 wide, guys.
I wish Gerald was in here to talk us through it right now. He's
Gerald,
right behind Chad, and he was
Gerald in here next
commentating about
caution.
Gerald. He was commentating about Chad sending it 3 wide.
We'll get Gerald in here next caution. We'll have some word. Oh, Chad all over the rear end of Burrell. I feel like
Now, we
I'm
saw
in like
Chad do this
supersonic
first
speed
round.
on this broadcast right now.
Yeah, we saw Chad do this on the first run. So now he's moving through these guys again. Now he raced every one of them pretty hard. So will they let? You think they'll let him go back by as easy this run?
Ethan did. Ethan let him by because he thought he was going to get wrecked right there. That's a little wild.
You know what I'm seeing out of like Foti and Tooker too? They are
What's
moved
that?
up off the bottom. Is that saving the right front? Would that be a situation where maybe not running around the bottom is better for the tires?
That's a you question, Josh.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but that seems to be the way that you exit the corner the best. Like I said before, the 77's been doing it every lap, and if they're paying attention, that's probably what they're picking up on. Which, it may say it probably does save the tires, because Trey ran very consistent on that first run and remained pretty much the fastest car as the leader that entire first run. So
Hey boys.
I just want to point out, and I think this might be where Chris is going. We're a straightaway away from Scott Crump going a lap down.
Yeah, and I didn't think the car looked that bad.
Is that where you were going with this, Chris?
I almost think he might be waiting to see a friend. He's looking for a friend out here. What do you guys think?
His last lap was 3 seconds slower than everybody else on track.
Are we about to see somebody become best friends out here?
we're going to keep an eye on this. Because if this goes
Where's Weeks? Where's Weeks at back there?
He's 14. If this goes the way I think it might go... Oh, Crump just nailed the wall.
This is going to be fun.
If this goes the way that I think this might go, that's not going to end well. The leader's going by Scott Crump. We're going to keep an eye on Crump.
Man, all of a sudden he's carrying more corner speed right now, too.
I think he's trying to stay out of the way of the leaders.
He found more corner speed all of a sudden. Look how much faster this car's going through the middle of the corner.
It's because he nailed the wall.
Oh, here's his
They're
friend.
each other.
Here's his friend. Nothing. Disappointing. I
think his car's just broke.
Yeah, he did get turned head on into the outside wall.
Look at how he's cornering, too. He's not even able to make the corners. That's just unfortunate for Scott Crump.
I was hoping, you know. I was hoping for some fireworks in Dover.
For the broadcast side of it, absolutely. Absolutely, you want to see that. But the race control side of it, I'm like, oh, no.
Yeah, and while we're still on that bit of business, watching Matthew back here in 14th, I don't know if he's struggling with a little bit of damage or if he's just trying to save his stuff, but he's not really performing too well right now.
I don't know if you heard him under the caution mention he had 25 seconds of damage, which depending on where the damage is, that could actually be fairly substantial.
Ken just rolled over and let Chad go, by the way.
Yeah, these guys are getting smart. They're just letting the 15 go.
Yeah, the back end of the 11 definitely has been used up, so it could be something to it.
We have a battle brewing here for 23rd. Jaden Racimus, Ethan Stanley, the two cars there. Stanley down 16 spots from the start of the race. Not the run he wanted, missing his entire back end. Chris mentioned an issue on lap 23.
Yeah, I think he would take he'd take the back bumper off the 11 if he could.
Absolutely he would. Just taking a look through the field. We have a battle coming here as well. Now it's Jesse Racimus all over the rear end of Joe Francis. Trying to get there. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to.
I believe we've crossed over halfway right here, right? In the last couple laps.
That's right.
So Trey Eidson's going to get that halfway point.
Good old Trey. Yeah, Trey Eidson is your leader.
I'd say halfway through this race, I don't want to do any kind of announcer's jinx, but I think I picked a good one.
Well, I mean, you did pick
two.
Let's not talk about like you went out on a limb here.
Well, you know, when you race with these guys week to week, you gotta know who.
He took the lowest hanging fruit. As Joe Francis goes to the inside of a Leighton Norgard, that is your battle for 11th. Scott Crump has come down pit lane, nearly contact between Francis and Norgard. Norgard slides up the track. Francis still on his inside. Jesse Racimus joining the fight as well. Going to get all over the rear end of Norgard.
Now, if you want to talk about going out on a limb, old Robert over there went and picked the 15. And that's out there on a...
Hey, people are moving out of the way for him.
Yeah, but when it comes time for the money...
What did you pick?
I picked Tyler Foti. I was out there on a pretty solid... I was out there on a whole nother tree, just like Josh.
Yeah, you taking the low fruit, man. Low fruit out there. Jay Connor to the inside of Gerald Campbell. That's a battle for 9th. Move Jay to 9th. Gerald back to 10th. Ethan Burrell currently running 8th. Last night's Truck Series winner. Shout out to him. I thought Dusty was going to get it last night, Chris.
Yeah.
He was cooking on that high side.
We were 5 wide coming across the line last night in the truck race, so if you haven't gotten a chance to see it, go check it out. Pretty exciting finish. 5 wide for the lead. I think 6 cars finished within a tenth of a second of the lead.
it was close. I had a chance to watch the finish of it with Corey Abbott. We were hanging out on Discord last night as you guys wrapped up the race because we both ended up getting wrecked early as the 0-4 of Gavin Higgins nearly gets sideways into the 28 of Cutlip.
Oh, Chad Frankenfield just hit the wall off of 2.
Big Bad Chad just decided to crank himself.
Yeah, and back to the 11 car, Matthew Weeks, he has just given the 14th spot to Johnny Thomas, and it looks like he's still losing time, so I think he's definitely struggling.
Yeah, we'll see what he can do with another caution if we do get another one, which I'm assuming we will. We'll see if he can get that car fixed up and work his way forward, but one guy that is working his way forward is Johnny Thomas. Spent most of the start of the race around 20th, now currently running inside the top 15. So it'll be good to see what he can do over the next handful of laps. And just an update, Scott Crump's still on pit road getting that car repaired. Actually, he's serving a meatball flag. So required damage on that number 90 machine of Scott Crump. If he comes back out, I think he's going to be even angrier.
Yeah, and we talk about Johnny Thomas. You know, we got to mention Belly Up Sports being on the car. And I know those of you that tune in, we've talked about it for 2 weeks. We'll go ahead and talk about it again. Belly Up Sports going to be the new premier partner for the Cup Series next season. So check it out. Check out Belly Up Sports. They got podcasts for everything. So it should be a fun time ahead. We're going to hate losing Join APS. They've been great partners in the past. And
they'll be back.
You know,
they all come back.
It's not over. It's just a little break for now.
Yeah, it's not goodbye. It's see you soon. A big shout out to Johnny for helping facilitate that. And just for all the haters at home, Elite's not going belly up. We're good. We got this.
And here's Kian trying to move back past Chad. Once again, hardest pass of the night. Right next to the first time we tried to pass Chad.
Oh! Well, he's just going to use him up.
Well, the patience is a little bit thinner the second time. If you let a guy go twice, and then you get back to him twice, and he races you both times...
Kian's just going to keep using him up every set of corners here.
I can't say it's a bad thing. You know?
Absolutely not. Ethan Burrell going to go for that dive, too.
Let's see, Chad almost tried to get defensive right there.
It almost looked like another moment where someone was going to get hooked.
And here's Ethan again going to lose a spot because he couldn't pass Chad.
Chad's diving back to the inside trying to get by Kian again. Not able to
he
get
won't
there.
he won't get back to Kian until the next pit stop.
John Cutlip I think he just fell out of the race. He just disappeared off time and scoring. Here comes Ethan Burrell to the inside of Big Bad Chad.
And that's a playoff car, right, Cutlip?
No. Cutlip is not a playoff car.
Oh, okay.
I don't believe he ran all the races. Scott
Right
comes
now,
back off of
Ethan
pit lane.
Is really struggling to make this pass.
He's struggled the whole time to try to get by Chad. He's just
Here
not
comes
able
Jay
to
to
do
his
it. Yeah,
side.
Jay to the inside of Ethan. I think that'll do it for Ethan's chance at Chad here, unless Chad makes a mistake.
Now, Ethan held off Jay.
Crump going back down pit road, so issues still remain on that 90 machine.
But he drove out there and he got another meatball. Something. Not sure what happened, but he drove out on the apron and then the meatball came back.
He's still serving that meatball. He's not happy either.
And I think the 37 is kind of one of the bigger surprises to me in this race. Usually we see him kind of take care of his stuff and then end up towards the front, but he hasn't really advanced.
I just want to point out that the arguing is heated up again.
It's exciting out here. Good stuff.
And we like to let these guys have at it a little bit. Watching Gerald Campbell and Joe Francis, these two guys having good runs tonight. 10th and 11th, both of them non-playoff drivers, just out here trying to get good positions, trying to work their way forward.
Now, I talked to Joe in the pre-race, and I haven't seen him do it yet, so I don't know if he's saving it for later or what, but he said he felt like you could run the top. He felt like there was good speed and good grip up at the top, but I haven't seen him or anyone go up there and run the top.
I saw Crump up there, but I don't think it was by choice. Weeks now falling back to 18th as Rawls goes by.
The 90's pulling off of pit road again.
Yeah, and they had
And since they argued again and reheated, you know, it's like bringing home the leftovers and putting them in the microwave. Let's see if
Crump didn't get a meatball this time. Oh. Goody wasn't too pleased right there. Oh, he's going to give the 0-4 a nudge. Oh! Goody just went in there and just tried to wreck Gavin Higgins.
Well, I think something happened and Gavin turned somebody sideways.
Yeah,
Crump all over Higgins now.
They were coming off a 2, and the 04 kind of cut down behind the 71, down into the front of the 44, and the 44 hit him a little bit.
Hey, I'm just kind of surprised.
Oh, there it is! There it is! Oh, and Goody did it and got himself involved. That is not how you wreck somebody.
Rule number one of stock car racing, as old Landon Castle would say.
Yeah, you can't wreck somebody and then get involved yourself.
Well, let's take a look at this.
I mean, the 04, he hit the 04 back straight, and he's the one who hit the inside wall.
Yeah, it's not even really the part about getting involved yourself. It's you're not supposed to wreck somebody and take the worst end of it.
Yeah, I mean...
Well, I think that's an easy call.
I think this is my moment here, though. When I debuted my Xfinity car, Goodman had something to say about my Ohio State logo.
Hold on here. Braxton DeWeese just lost it. Oh, he ran into the back of Garrison Hogan.
Oh, tons of damage to Braxton and Garrison. Major playoff implications. Garrison's bumper goes flying. Braxton gets a ton of front damage. Oh, wow. Garrison's shot to win this thing just ended. Right there.
They got Joker involved in that, too.
Chooker was involved, you say?
Yep, Garrison got punted into him.
Oh, yeah. Well,
just
Chooker's
an update here, guys. Braxton DeWeese has been issued a severe damage penalty. That is a 10-point deduction.
I think Chooker's going to be okay. I don't think that's major damage. But the big story here, too, Tyler Foti just won the race off of pit road. Scott Crump currently getting passed by the lead lap cars. Crump's going to come down pit road.
And we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll take you to the finish.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And welcome back here on the Elite Racing Network for Race 2 of the playoffs in the Mark J. Rebilas photography series. Where do you guys think Mark is this week? He out taking pictures somewhere?
Probably.
Yeah,
Go to rebilasphoto.com.
I know he was at the NLCS, I think it was, a couple days ago. I don't know if he's back tonight or not.
Yeah, and got the World Series coming up. I'm sure he'll be taking pictures there. The pace car is about to pull off with new race leader Tyler Foti out here. What do you guys think? Are we going to run all green to the end, or are we going to get a bunch of cautions?
Oh, we'll see another yellow.
Just one?
One or more.
Green is out. Garrison with a terrible start on the top. Trey's going to stay on the outside of Tyler Foti down into one. Gives it up there going into the corner.
And I made mention during our break how Trey's been the guy to beat all race, but we know how hard it is to pass. Can he get back by the 40? Very little time to do it.
Man, I thought he was going to just drive down in there and get into the back of him. He is right on him.
Ethan Burrell to the inside of Garrison Hogan. Hogan having issues after severe damage was given to him under caution by the 27 of Braxton. Deweese just absolutely rammed that one. I think he just wasn't expecting
with the
to
defensive
slow
maneuver here on Trey.
quick, but that's
Trey
what happened.
out.
As the battle's on for the lead, as you mentioned, Chris.
Ooh,
I'm
little
going to give
bump.
him a little bit of a bump.
Foti's locked in. He don't need this win. Trey needs the win. Just 31 laps to go.
Kind of interested to see how defensive he's going to continue to be willing to be, because as we all know, certain people do certain things and it's okay, and then it comes back on them and it's not so good anymore. So see how he's willing to drive this.
Could you elaborate there? What are you speaking on?
Everybody in Elite. But we know certain drivers could get away with certain things, so we'll see what goes on.
Now, I'll play devil's advocate. I think Foti's been a lot better since that ordeal happened with you on the racetrack. I haven't seen in any event where he's been gotten into the back of somebody intentionally.
Oh, I wasn't even recollecting back to that. I was just saying, we know that certain teams go after each other and see, if he was doing that to somebody else, they get into him, he cries. We'll see how he's trying to keep the lead.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know if
Or
the history
vice versa,
between him and
not
Trey.
just him.
Who does Trey? What's Trey's team? Is he teammates with Chad? He's not.
Trey
is he?
Holmes or Trey Eidson?
Trey Eidson.
Trey Eidson is Aftermath Motorsports, so he's teammates with Justin Fuller, Tommy, Jeff Ryan, and EJ O'Rourke.
Well, I'll say this: if Justin Fuller was in the car, I'm confident there would be contact made.
Absolutely.
If there was a block thrown, like we saw earlier. So I think Trey's a little bit more patient than Justin. I think Justin's got a little bit of that Chad in him. He knows one speed. It's 110, super aggressive, and does whatever needs done for that spot. Obviously, when I say a little bit of Chad, I don't want people to take it the wrong way and say, oh, he's faster than Chad. He is faster than Chad. Justin's one of the fastest guys in the series one of the fastest guys in the lead across all the series. But Justin's got a little bit of Chad in him with his racecraft as far as, when he gets to somebody, he's making the pass right now.
As we come around, just 26 to go. It's Tyler Foti out front, Trey Eidson just behind him. Then it's a little bit back to David Tooker, not much back. Then Kean Raleigh, Ethan Burrell, that's your top five. Chad Frankenfield, 6th. Garrison Hogan, 7th. Jay Connor, 8th. Gerald Campbell, 9th. And Elite Norgard rounding up the top 10. And look who's just outside the top 10 right now, Johnny Thomas.
Oh, Trey's in the wall.
See, if he can rebound from that, he's been able to run lower than Foti on both ends and still get a better corner exit. So I think he's just sizing him up right now.
Nearly hits the wall off of 2. He might be driving his car a little bit harder right now. And he hit the wall once. You can't go out there and make that mistake. You cannot keep hitting the wall. One thing I will say is we talked about Cutlip earlier. He has returned to the track 21 laps down, I believe, 22 laps down. Well, he's returned to the race. He has not returned to the track. How about that?
Yeah, definitely has not returned to the track as of yet. Still working his way back into the server. We'll see if he does come back onto the racetrack. Not sure that he will. Just an update for those of you keeping score at home. We were supposed to start 31 tonight. 2 did not start, and Tate Lytle and Michael Hosick. Casey Hatch did not complete a lap. Did 0.93 laps today. John Cutlip is 24 laps down. Then Scott Crump about 15 down. Gavin Higgins 1 down, and then everyone else still on the lead lap. So 25 cars on the lead lap, which is 22 to go.
Yeah, not sure why Tate came in and qualified and didn't start at all. And we saw Casey Hatch.
That got really tight, sorry, Chris, between Ethan Burrell and Chad Frankenfield.
Yeah, Chad said he's got to go. Garrison's holding on pretty good for a guy who lost his back bumper. I know he's getting. I say that and he's getting ready to lose another spot, but.
As Jay Connor dives to the inside, slides up. Ooh, that.
Ooh, a little bit.
I don't know that Garrison was too pleased with that.
I think Garrison was just trying to get back in line, and as soon as he touched him, he backed off. I think if Garrison had an axe to grind, he wouldn't have backed off.
Oh, no.
The ladder hits the wall.
That's the 04 of Gavin Higgins that's in the outside wall, still stuck up there. Now able to get loose. Probably broke that machine in the right front. No meatball on that, so just some.
Oh,
he hits the wall again. If I'm the lead lap cars, I want him to get the heck out of the way. He's in the wall again.
I thought because he did more damage to his own car than Gavin's car. Maybe he broke something in the left front when he hit him.
Talon just full sent it into the wall. Wow. Hey, Chris, look where Joe is. He was just up along the fence, but I think that was just to dodge all the cars that kept trying to wreck ahead of him. We got a bit of a battle here. It is Johnny Thomas, Trey Holmes, Jesse Racimus. That's 11th, 12th, and 13th on the racetrack. Don't think we've mentioned Trey Holmes even once tonight, but having himself a solid run back there.
Matthew Weeks is back to 18th. He's racing Dustin Dewar for that spot right now.
Yeah, Weeks on the inside, Dewar up top. Just behind them is where we find Corey Abbott and Dave Carpenter. Harrison Talon, Braxton DeWeese battling. DeWeese slides up nearly into the side of Talon. We've seen that all night long, though, with the 27, where he just kind of sends it in the corner, drives up into the side of the car he's trying to pass, and then moves along. So, very aggressive tonight out of that 27.
I think a Leighton Norgard just maybe made contact with the wall off of 4.
Norgard falling back to Trey Holmes now.
If not, he had something. Oh, Ethan Burrell has to check up out of 2, causes a stack-up.
Jay Connor, Garrison Hogan just behind him.
You know what Jay's thinking? Man, I just worked all those laps to pass that 37. Or to pass that 1, and then the 37.
Gerald hit the wall. Oh, 3 wide.
Chad wide down into turn 1.
Gerald hits the apron, backs out. 15 to go. Tyler Foti still out front. Says he's on pit road, but Foti's not on pit road, guys, just so you know.
Yeah, the 77 of Eidson, he may have went too hard there in the beginning. He has definitely lost his exit speed.
And don't forget, he did hit the wall. That could have knocked something, could have tightened him up just a little bit. And he's in the wall again, off of 2.
He's pushing hard. Very hard trying to get there.
Yeah, he might still be able to get to him, but as we all know, Tyler Foti's one of them guys that he's going to be good right at the end. So he knew just how hard he needed to drive his car to keep the 77 back there.
Now, they both drove off and left third place David Tooker, so whatever Tooker's got left, I think we might start to see it here if he can close in on these two.
I don't know that David has much for these top two. As we say that, Kian Raleigh looks to the inside of Tooker. Nearly contact for third. We're going to come around and face 11 laps to go this time. So getting down to the nitty-gritty here. Very rapid race thus far.
Nitty-gritty dirt band? Is that what we're going to have here?
Sure.
So we got that lapped car in the wall again right in front of the leaders.
Gavin Higgins, now he's on the apron. At 0-4 on the right side of his car, pretty much gone. Kian Raleigh nearly... Oh, he's all over David Tooker here. He's worn the left rear off of the David Tooker machine. Keep an eye on that.
Tooker did not get out of four very good.
Kian dives to the inside, side by side for third.
Oh, little contact. Little more contact. Man, leaning on somebody when you're at their door like that is risky.
These two had a bit of issues during practice today as well. So I think it's coming alive now.
I wouldn't want to frustrate David Tooker.
Well, especially when you're Kian Raleigh, you're a playoff guy. David Tooker, not in the playoffs.
And we saw that last week, and Ethan Stanley paid the price for it.
Absolutely. Foti pulling away by 4/10 now. Now 3/10 as Eisen closes in a little bit. We'll see if Tooker gets back to him here.
No, I think that position's decided now.
Yeah, Tooker would have had to full send it right there.
Hogan now falling back, just about to drop out of the top 10 as Norgard goes by. Trey Holmes, Jesse Racimus just behind him.
Yeah, Garrison fought the good fight here with his beat-up car, but I don't think he's going to be able to hold on to a top 10.
Seth Rawls on the high side of Joe Francis. Francis down low. Now Rawls gets behind him. This is a gaggle of cars together here. Joe Francis, Seth Rawls, Corey Abbott, Dustin Doer, Matthew Weeks, Dave Carpenter all together. That's 15th back through 20th all together. Foti still leads by half a second, coming to 6 to go this time. Raleigh's pulled away from Tooker. Chad closing in a little bit here on David Tooker. 4/10 separate those two. A little bit further behind, Gerald Campbell having a great night. Currently running 8th, looking to the high side of Ethan Burrell. Not able to do it that time.
I'm going to tell you what.
5 to go.
Braxton DeWeese has done a hell of a drive here this last run. He got that EOL, had to restart the tail end of the longest line all the way back there. It'd be 25th, but he had to restart behind the lappers and all. He just took 13th from Johnny Thomas. He's got a pretty good shot at getting to all the way to Garrison Hogan in 10th.
And then on the flip side of that driver you just mentioned in 10th, he would like to still be up in 3rd or 4th.
It's so true. They might come together here. I mean, it was obviously an accident. Braxton didn't mean to do it. Does that matter to Garrison? Does Garrison just say, you know what, you took away a top 3, you're not going to be able to recover and get back up here and finish in front of me?
Yeah, still even accident or not, it's still a very dumb mistake to make. It doesn't happen very often, so.
And is Trey protecting for his teammate here?
I don't
Trey
think so.
Trey hasn't tried to pass him at all.
I think Trey wants a top 10 too.
I don't see. He got loose right there. Oh, here goes Trey. And that's going to open the floodgates for everybody.
Three to go. Coming now to 2 for Tyler
Braxton
Foti.
jumps up on the outside to follow him.
Foti catching up to Michael Goodman here. Lap car just ahead of the leader. Braxton DeWeese loses, actually gains a spot here.
Braxton's going to look to the very top here. He's all the way up high. Wow, big run off of 2 for Braxton.
Nowhere really for him to go at this point. Unless
Johnny
he decides
Thomas
to use up the 1 again.
Going to come up there. We're going to get the white flag out right here.
One to go for Tyler Foti, as he's going to come off of turn number 2 this time, down the back straightaway for the final time. Already locked into the playoffs, into the next round of playoffs, I should say, as he comes off at turn number 4 for the final time. Your winner here in the Dover 125, the 40 of Tyler Foti. Foti, Eidson, and Raleigh, the top 3. David Tooker, Chad Frankenfield, a little bit further back. I'm going to watch Scott Crump and Matthew Weeks here, see if anything happens after the checkered flag.
Great drive for Braxton. He got back to 11th, finished right behind Garrison at 10th. Johnny Thomas went up there and gained some spots in the last lap, finishing 12th. So Tyler Foti winning is going to keep the playoffs pretty tight going into next week.
Crump's coming around here.
It looked like he was looking, but
Somebody's in the pit barrels.
Jaden Racimus in the pit barrels. I think Crump's just coming around to celebrate with his teammate. Well, guys, let's take a look at the final results here today as we wait for our top 3 finishers. Tyler Foti, your winner once again, stealing the opportunity for someone to lock in to the next round. Trey Eidson second, Kean Raleigh third. So playoff sweep of the podium. David Tooker 4th, Chad Frankenfield 5th, Jake Kaner 6th, Ethan Burrell 7th, Leighton Norgard 8th, Gerald Campbell 9th, and Garrison Hogan round out the top 10. As the rest of your results roll on through, Johnny Thomas and Braxton DeWeese, playoff guys just outside the top 10. Matthew Weeks with a not so great run in 18th after contact with Scott Crump. Ethan Stanley 23rd, and Scott Crump, as we mentioned, 27th. So some playoff guys.
Ethan Stanley, too, came in 15 above the cut line, so that's going to put him on the cut line going into next week. Trey Eidson had a really solid night, so he's going to move up into second. Justin Fuller wasn't here, 13 above the cut line, so that's going to put him. This is going to be really, really tight next week. Chad Frankenfield helped himself out tonight. Trey Eidson helped himself out to maybe take next week and just be a solid day. Doesn't need to be anything good or great. But Scott Crump also had so right there, Scott Crump, Justin Fuller, and Ethan Stanley. That is 3 of our top 7 guys above the cut line had bad nights tonight. Garrison fell back to 10th. He came in above the cut line, so he's going to be right there at the cut line. Braxton's going to be right there at the cut line. Ethan, nobody right there at the cut line had a stellar night.
Absolutely not. Let's go ahead and bring in Kean Raleigh, our 3rd place finisher, standing by with Chris and Josh.
Joined by Kean here. Kean, you had a great run tonight. Solid. Ended up there fighting with Tooker for 3rd there at the end. We saw you guys get a little bit physical, but nothing too egregious. So take us through your night, and what more did you need to go up there and have a shot to win?
I needed more time. Honestly, tonight was a spectacular night in all facets. I'm a lot more happy with tonight's 3rd place result than I was last week's 2nd place result. This is not a racetrack that I'm typically good at. Honestly, I'm terrible here. I don't like this place at all. I find it super hard to save the tires and to run a consistent line lap after lap. And typically at a track like this, I would spend a couple days earlier in the week getting ready for it, but I had no time this week, and the 70 or so laps I got in practice is all I had. And the qualifying effort was pretty poor, but once I settled in and started running laps, I mean, it was obvious. I don't know if you guys managed to catch it on the first run or not, but I charged from 14th up to 6th, and if it weren't for Chad and a couple other guys, racing their behinds off in front of me, I definitely would have charged a bit further up, but I made a lot of inroads on the opening run. And honestly, I think if this thing had gone green from the start or the first caution, I think I honestly would have had a shot to win the race.
Yeah, and take us through what you're thinking here in the playoffs. You saw Scott Crump, you saw Fuller not even be here, and Ethan Stanley have his trouble. So what is your outlook going to Talladega now? You're going to have probably 15, 20 points at least of a buffer?
I'll take a look at the cut line. Obviously running by myself, it's a little bit hard to succeed at plate tracks when you've got the Pro Edge guys out here, 4 or 5 strong, running together, controlling the race. No disrespect to them. Obviously, if they're able to do that, they should be able to do that. But I mean, obviously, Daytona earlier this season did not go as planned. I do enjoy plate racing, but I think I'll do my best to just keep the doors on it and finish well next week after all the chaos subsides, because I guarantee you there's going to be chaos at Talladega Superspeedway if it's a cutoff race in the playoffs. So
I'll hand you off to Josh. Josh, you got anything for Kean?
Yeah, I would just say great job on a great run. Like you said, the qualifying wasn't great, but you made your way up through. It looked like hard to pass out there. So maybe one person made it easy, but I just want to hear who you have to thank, what shout outs you want to make for a good run.
Obviously, your claim that it was hard to pass was probably the truest thing I've heard all night. Because you saw as soon as I got around Chad on that first run, I put a second and a half on him. As soon as I got around Tooker, I put 2 seconds on him. And obviously, I had to rub the paint off their tires to get around him. And I think they did it. They did it back to me. It was fair, hard racing. But my thanks go out to the guys that run this league. Obviously, it gives me something to look forward to every Monday night. We've had a couple good results, and it's been a lot of fun. Obviously, you guys that run the broadcast, I go back and watch it every night afterwards. It's always a great time. And I would say I've got friends watching this one. We're supposed to have a little watch party over here, but some stuff came up and not everybody made it, so it is what it is. Yeah, my thanks go out to all you guys that make this possible. It's always a great time to come out here and run on Monday nights.
Yeah, and it's always good when we can see a little bit of a Rubbins racing and nobody wreck anybody, so great job on that.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, hello.
Now we're joined by our second place finisher and dominant car of the night, Trey Eitzen. Trey, talk us through your night, and ultimately that pit stop lost you the race.
Yeah, fastest car, slowest pit crew. It's probably my fault. I didn't really attack the sign and get in the box and roll a bunch of speed in there like I did the first one. But I knew. I was actually just talking to Foti, and I knew like clean air was just massive. Because when he was behind me the run before, and he was trying to back, I think he was trying to back off me to keep air on his nose and save his tires, and I just kept backing up to him to keep dirty air on his nose. Because no matter how hard you save at Dover, the second car just eventually dies. No matter how, they could try all the tricks. So I try to do that, and then I eventually drive off into the sunset. So I felt in a good spot there. He had dropped like a second and a half, 2 seconds back, and there's 20 or 30 to go, and I was like, well, I think we're gonna win this one. And then the yellow comes out. So I don't know. Me and pit road don't really get along ever. I got to figure out how to get in the box and all that stuff that shouldn't matter. But it is what it is. I just told Foti, I said I wasn't going to try to do anything stupid. I know there was a few times it looked like I might have even bumped him because the car contact thing would pop up on the screen, and it didn't even feel that close to me. So, and he said he didn't feel nothing. So I wasn't going to try anything crazy to throw away a bunch of points. I knew I had like a lap sled, most lap sled bonus there. We're going to a plate track, so unless he made some crazy mistake and I could get in there and pass him cleanly, I wasn't going to risk throwing away the points buffer.
Yeah, and you bring up the points here, and you're going to have a pretty good buffer now next week. I'm sure you were aware that Ethan Stanley had his problems. You were aware Justin Fuller obviously wasn't here. He's your teammate, so I'm sure you knew he wasn't going to be here. And then we had the deal with Crump, and you saw Garrison get his damage. So you had to know, right, that you're sitting there probably going to be close to 30 above the cut line going into Talladega, and that's a pretty solid a shake at it. You'd have to get wrecked pretty early and have a lot of things happen next week to get knocked out.
Yeah, I mean, when I led the most laps, I was like, all right, we're in pretty good shape. So I just really wanted to finish it. Even running second, you kind of want to caution right there at the end and maybe beat him off pit road or take two or do something crazy. But realistically, I was like, let me just take this and get out of here. So it is what it is. Everyone, it's like Foti wins a lot and everyone hates it. I think they like Foti, but they just hate that he wins all the time. So they're always calling for a yellow or how do you let Foti win? So it's annoying when someone has him beat and then they just keep wrecking. So it's kind of like, what the heck? can't win for losing. But yeah, Fuller before we signed up at Elite, Fuller had signed up. Signed up. He had committed to drive Timmy Hill's hauler, the 56 truck, back from Homestead this weekend. So he won't be home till later tonight or in the morning. So he knew he was going to miss this. He kind of knew the card he was dealt headed to Talladega. So I'm sure he's gonna give you boys the show next week.
Yeah, we were talking about a little bit in the race how he's pretty aggressive, you know, and I didn't want to take anything away from the speed. He's one of the fastest guys, but we saw how patient you were behind Foti, and I feel like Fuller would have just kind of sent it in there and said, "Let's see what happens."
Yeah, that's weird. He's the fast, aggressive one of the team, and I'm kind of the hang out, save tires. Usually save tires. Tonight's kind of an exception, and just kind of points racer approach. He told me a few weeks ago. He's like, no offense, but you're not all that fast. And then like I got a few poles in a row, so I was like, well, suck on that. But yeah, he definitely he's 110% from the drop of the green. So I'm sure he'll have that Mustang about 12 rows wide next week.
It should be exciting. I'll hand you off here to Josh. See what Josh has for you.
Yeah, Trey, I was gonna say just great job on such a dominant run, and like you said, it always sucks when that late yellow comes out and kind of spoils everything. Like I did pick you to win. I knew you were gonna have speed. Knew you were gonna have a chance to win that thing, but obviously the unfortunate caution and so hard to pass. They're late. Did you have anything more for him, or did you probably have to just bump him out of the way at this point?
So I told him, like I said, I was talking to him before I came in here with you guys. The thing drives so much different in clean air. Like it's night and day. Like it drives amazing out front. Even 20, 30 laps into the run, I'm like, this thing's still, it's driving pretty good. So I knew I needed to try to pounce early. And even he kind of admitted he got in clean air and was like, what the heck? So in my mind, I was like, he's gonna have to figure it out, right? Like this thing's gonna drive amazing, and he ain't gonna be used to it. So I was trying to hammer down, maybe get a run on exit, but he really didn't make a mistake. I mean, the first 5 or 10 laps of that run, I wasn't crazy aggressive, but I was trying to at least put some pressure on the left rear quarter panel on exit, maybe get him loose. But I didn't fill it up with gas, so it started plowing maybe 10 to go. I mean, you guys could see it. I could just kind of lose a tenth of lap, start dropping back. So probably had to use him up to get by him because you guys have probably known him forever, but he don't seem to make many mistakes. So yeah, it is what it is. It's racing.
Yeah, well, again, like I said, good job on a podium finish. Who do you want to shout out and thank for the race?
Just appreciate you guys, and well, I didn't have any teammates tonight, but usually Fuller and Aftermath and Chad and all the folks at Elite, so league sponsors, and like Chris said, in a pretty good shape to advance, and so looking forward to that. I haven't even looked at the schedule for what's next, or I'm kind of mixing up the truck playoff and this one with schedules and this how everyone advances and stuff. But I'll figure it out. But looking forward to seeing what happens.
Yeah, Chad gives us all a lot to think about the schedules. That's for sure.
Yeah, I try to keep it straight. Like tonight, I don't know where I thought we were at, but I got in, like I signed up and then didn't really look at what I clicked and got in here and I was like, okay, didn't expect over, but it worked out.
All right, now we are joined by race winner, also car owner of 2 cars that didn't have good races tonight. But Foti, talk to us about your car and how you were able to stay in front of Trey there. It seemed like you couldn't pass him, and then you got in front of him, and he couldn't pass you.
Yeah, it just seemed like the clean air was the key tonight. Started kind of back a little bit, 5th or 6th, and kind of had to work my way up there with the long runs that we had. And then once I got into 2nd, I just, no matter what I did, trying to save tire, back off a little bit and then go, I just could not do anything to catch Trey. And then we got a couple more yellows, especially that last one, with like 40 to go. I just got into the box perfectly and got out. And I haven't looked back at it yet, but it had to have been, inches that I beat Trey out of the pits. And then from there, I was running as hard as I could to try and keep him back. I had to block him a couple times. But yeah, it was night and day difference once I had the lead. The car was driving way better. So that was definitely the key tonight. Trey had a winning car, that's for sure. I think it was just a matter of whoever got off pit road first on the last stop there was going to get it. So happy we were able to do that.
Yeah, and one thing, that you haven't talked about tonight, one of the big major keys that helped you get there to the checker flag tonight was putting enough fuel in the car to get there.
Yeah. Some reason we've been running a little short the last couple of races, but made sure we had enough tonight. So
Yeah, State Lidl coming through and siphoning some gas out to make sure, you can't get to the end. What's going on?
Yeah, I don't know what. It's probably the Pro Edge guys sneaking onto the box during those runs. I don't know.
Well, so you kept everybody else from getting locked into the playoffs tonight. You're the only one locked in. I think Trey's going to be, it would take it would take an act of God to knock him out next week going to Talladega. So what's your plan for Talladega? You just want to go out there 100% aggressive, try to win the thing, try to sweep the round, make everybody fight for points, or?
Yeah, well, obviously we're going to try and win every race. But teammates had a kind of a rough night tonight, so we'll have to see what the points are looking like there. And if it's in the cards, try and help them out, obviously, first. See if we can get all three of us into the next round.
Now, you mentioned a rough night. I think that's an understatement. I think at least one of them is pretty upset. I won't name which one, but everybody can think about which one probably was upset tonight. So do you have to sit down and talk with those guys and say, hey, we got to be calm. We got to go into Talladega, got to win this thing. You might have to work with some of these guys you might be mad at, or you just kind of let him take care of it himself?
No, we always kind of talk about everything leading up to the races, so we'll be fine. Just got to see where the point situation is, and then just kind of go from there.
Well, all right, congrats on the win. And before we let you get out of here, we will send you over to Josh Adams, see what Josh has for you.
Yeah, Tyler, I don't really have a question for you, but Trey kind of made mention there, I think in the interview or in game chat, how people don't like to see you win, and his pit stop might have thrown it away or whatever. But I was just thinking, there's maybe one guy in this whole thing that you can't make a mistake against and give the lead, because you're probably not going to see it back, and you definitely did that, like showed that tonight and closed it up. So good job on the win.
Yeah, appreciate it. I do got to say again, Trey is one of the top guys. He came in this season and by far has been class of the field most races. So to run with him and have it come down to something like that just shows how equal we are, and looking forward to racing him here in the future. Also, obviously, got to shout out the teammates there, Ethan and Scott. Had a rough night, but I'm looking for them to bounce back, and I think we'll be all right going forward here. And I also got to thank iWraps for painting all our schemes, Blue Egg Marketing, Stay Tuned Sports, everyone that's on board there. This was the 100th win for the team also in the NASCAR series, so that's super cool to get that. And yeah, shout out to you guys for being up here tonight.
Oh, we didn't even talk about the 100th win. Did not come up once tonight, so you bring that up. That's a big deal. 100 wins for Lake Norman.
Yep, definitely a milestone there. Don't know if we'll have 100 more, but definitely cool to be first team up there to triple digits. So also got to shout out my coworker Mitch, who I'm sure will probably watch this back at some point. So shout out to him.
And based on your interview, are you trying to get Trey? You trying to move some chess pieces around? You going to get Trey over there at Lake Norman?
Only if Robert wants him first. Then we'll see.
I don't know. Robert wants somebody, and then he's trying to kick him to the curb. I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I just follow what Robert does.
And that'll do it. Good win, Tyler.
Yeah, appreciate it. I'll talk to y'all hopefully next week.
All right, boys. That'll just about do it for us here tonight. Any final thoughts from you?
I say my one final thought is, now that we know that team has 100 wins, you guys can talk about that next week and how they're not going to get 101, because I'll be on the track and taking that one.
I'd love to hear it, Chris.
Well, we'll be pulling for you next week. We'll hoping you get a win there. Go out there and win that thing. You're going to be driving the Canes machine too, right?
That would be the plan.
Yeah,
That's
everybody loves the Canes machine. Got one on Wednesday nights too, and it hasn't won yet. So hopefully you can put him in victory lane because I can't get him there. But
Yeah,
as
we'll
for
see.
tonight, man, you're going to be aware next week at I know it's Talladega. Are you going to be aware of everybody who's mad at each other and maybe trying not to help the other?
Nope. Next week, I'm just going to be out there racing like Foti. You know, he knows he's locked into the next round, and I know I'm not racing for anything but the checkered flag, so I'll just be up there racing.
It'll be an exciting race, that's for sure. Exciting times. Lots of guys mad at each other. Added to the list tonight. I'm sure Ethan and Tooker still.
the one guy's always mad, so.
What one guy? Who are you talking about?
You know who I'm talking about.
I can't. There's all kinds of guys out there, man. Like, you got to name him.
I say I'll name Scott Crump, and I can tell
There
you
you
the
go.
first two interviews, I could hardly even concentrate on what Chris is trying to ask these boys because I was still in game chat listening to him and Matthew go back and forth, and they were still pretty heated after the race.
But that'll be it for us here tonight at Dover. Be sure to join us Wednesday night for the JoinAPS.com Cup Series live from Montreal for some road course racing. But until then, have yourselves a good night.